Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust, Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 656. Gold as a savings, not an investment. Definitely excited about this episode. We actually are bringing in one of our trusted, reliable voices of asset or gold. Well, actually, gold is an asset. I was thinking maybe investment for a sec, but no, gold. Resident gold expert, as they say. When you have a gold business, they will classify you as an expert. So they put in their 10,000 hours, and they're here to serve questions and answers. Feel free to type them in the chat, and definitely feel free to go to goldrepublic.co. Definitely appreciate Jerome for coming on. Jerome, you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How you
Yeah,
doing? How you doing?
pretty good. Yeah, feel free to go to goldenrepublic.co. I just had to go back in and update some prices. That conversation we had previously. Gold is just jumping at the gym, as we would say.
Exactly. Definitely would agree with that. And that's why we're here today with some other reasonings. But we definitely appreciate you for coming on and talking about gold as a savings, not an investment. And this is a topic that we could say it can be quite controversial. So let's hear when you hear the statement gold as a savings, not an investment. What does that bring to your mind?
Uh, Gold as a saving investment is, to me, what stands out as somebody who has done their due diligence and reckoned in, but put in an appreciated asset and understand the growth rate of gold is surprisingly way more interest in just putting it in a traditional savings account.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Jerome, can you hear me clearly? All
Yes,
right, great. So, and you actually worked with a bank. So
correct.
let's talk about it then. So that money market, does it compare over the past 3 years? We'll say actually since 2020. You think that money market at 6% is outperforming that gold baby over there?
Listen, not at all. Given the sense that gold has a return on investment at a minimum of at least 7 to 8%, and is the best way to hedge against inflation, which is calculated between what 4 to 8% per year. So not even. You have better luck finding pennies on the ground, get more interest that way than actually investing in a money market or a traditional savings account. That's my personal opinion.
Right, right, right. It's interesting. We could sit here all day and talk about asset classes, especially working at a bank, and now having a gold company. We could talk about it, but this gold in particular, it has a lot of people would say, "Oh, if you're going to put your wealth somewhere, you store it in the old bears, the old, not pun intended, but the old sluggers in real estate and gold." That's one of them. So definitely appreciate you coming on, and we're about to go in. It's going to get a little conversational, if you know what I mean,
Yes.
and maybe a little controversial.
Yep.
So I'm asking everybody. We just started. The new regime's in. It's about to get real. It's about to get real ugly in here in a good way, commercially. Over the next 4 years, next 3 to 4 years, we want to hear your outlook for 2025, and as well the next 4 years commercially, macro, just in general, overall sentiment of the American economy, as well with gold, and maybe even the gold performance internationally, and just your thoughts this year as well as the next 3 to 4 years?
So I'm gonna go back to 2023. I'm just now revamping my website, and I was looking at the presentation that I did with you in 2023, and 2023 gold was at $2,053. Uh, so in today, since then, gold has jumped up around $800 $900, hitting records. Um, as we see that the economy and the U.S. economy is in the current tariff war because of Donald Trump, and he keeps on making these changes. I'm not a political expert, but as you see, um, he's affecting the world. He's affecting to a certain degree the price of gold. It's predicted. I see gold within the next 3 4 years by 20. I'm gonna say by 2030, gold is gonna be at its highest point at $5,000 an ounce.
It's very
So,
predictable. That's very predictable. Definitely, it's almost like the S&P. Almost we could say they're predicting super astronomical highs. They're predicting super astronomical highs with that. Gold would definitely be a tear on the Harry right behind it or with it. We already see it though. I think we already see gold at its peak. So it's almost like we're gonna see a continuous peaking.
yeah,
And that'll be interesting to see what the dips look like and feel like because it's not meant to go back. It's actually meant to go up. So please continue.
yes, it's meant to go up. Back on the previous episodes, when I first started dealing with gold back in 2000 and what year was that? Like 14. Gold was at $1,200 an ounce. So you look at the difference from $1,200 an ounce to 28, $2,900 an ounce. What's that? A $1,600 difference?
Yeah.
Listen, the thing about it is, imagine, they say saving money. Yeah, it's good to have. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take you longer to save than investing in an appreciated asset that's going to continuously to grow. So using gold as a savings is one of the smartest things that you can do. Gold is basically like a physical form and more transferable form and a more secured form of real estate to me.
Thank you. It is. We know it is. It's property. It comes under real property law. Still property.
Hmm. Yes, so and there's multiple ways to secure some gold. You can do the physical form. You can invest in the stock market. You can have it in some gold IRAs. You know,
Hey, that's being honest. So we gotta go on something you already brought up.
go.
So this whole tariff thing, whatever you want to share your thoughts on, we have a point, but we would love to hear your thoughts on. Is that good for the economy? Is that good for gold, in your opinion?
You know what? Because it's like it's a ripple effect, like throwing a rock in the pond. And I think there's rattling some cages. You got to think about it. So if the price of egg is going up, eggs, like I seen a post where somebody stole 10,000 eggs, and the cost of eggs are going up. Something's affecting the economy. That just means that inflation is about to go through the roof, and we know what goes hand in hand with inflation: the cost of gold.
Interesting. I think this is, and so here we go. This is. Are you good on your point?
Yeah,
All right. I'm gonna take a very counter or contrarian approach to the economy right now because it's like this is the best time. I mean, people don't want to know how good the golden years is because if they knew that this was gold in the streets, this is gold in the streets. Gold's at its peak, dang near, and we wondering is it gold in the streets? So it's gold in the streets. How is it gold in the streets because of the tariffs? Well, I would put a bet that the dollar is going to get stronger because of these tariffs. because people are fleeing and going into the dollar, and that in turn has gold going up. Gold is a reserve asset, so is the United States dollar. If wars end, we could see some slight inversion, I think. But when we come to the tariffs, he's only doing what Americans have always wanted, to enforce these people to actually have equal trade, fair trade. These people have undercut us, and Americans aren't even aware of it. So we weren't aware of the hidden taxes that we were getting put on us by these automakers when you're riding around in a foreign automaker. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a lot of foreign investment that we think is going to be made in the States because of him pushing manufacturing. We think that could be maybe one of the, that may not be accurate, but we as well have to be aware that the previous administration or the administration before that, one of them put the CHIPS Act in. So it really encouraged a lot of American domestic chip investment, knowing that we're in a hyper AI technology hacking era. We've seen so many cyber companies go down right now. They're looking to fortify home with defense. So that means gold. Defense and gold go together. Defense and silver go together. Defense and all of the metals go together. So definitely a pushback to American domestic development manufacturing of defense weapons, of everyday consumer goods. That brings value to American companies, and it forces Americans to make a hard decision because you're either going to invest domestically or you're going to invest abroad. But just be very aware, there's a lot of foreign investment in America right now, and it's coming in partially because of any war, and because they see that he's putting blockades on people trying to devalue the dollar.
Yep.
And so that's why we think counterintuitively the dollar's going to hold it. This is our hands up play in the air. We could see the dollar. We're going to go we're going to go look at the dollar right now and see where it's at, because we think the dollar's going to hold strong, and that's good for Americans, but it's also not great for Americans if inflation stays high. But we think that this could be the reason why the Fed's just going to lower the rate, because the dollar's going to be strong, but inflation may be around. And basically, Trump did a cozy move of getting the Fed to lower the rate because he's ensuring that the dollar is going to be strong because gold's strong. If gold's strong, the dollar is usually strong. Would you agree?
It can go hand in hand.
It
Yeah.
can go hand in hand. So it's not a gold's the reason why the dollar's gonna go down, and the dollar down is not the reason why gold's just gonna go up. Gold is a reserve currency. So that's just kind of what we see with the tariffs. We think that that's gonna not force, but it's going to have a lot of foreigners want to invest more in America because they see that they're putting a value back on internal value and not just getting ripped off with inflation with these other countries, man. Taking, doing imbalanced trade.
Yeah. So the U.S. dollar is still high in demand with as far as international trade going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's why we say this is a very high level businessman move. You have to be looking at it from the jet to see what the plays on the ground like. That's why they got coaches in the boxes, if you know what I mean. They need people in the air to see what's going on down below, because it's called the market makers. They know they can make the market, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So we definitely want to comment about the tariffs. We would love to hear what are your thoughts on the dollar, uh, 12 months, and his reign. Do you think the dollar could stay strong, or do you think he could force it into a proxy and it lose value just because people may flock out of it? People may say we don't want to touch it. What are your thoughts on it?
My thing is, I think Donald Trump is strategically trying to put America in a in his mind in a economic uh economical advantage against everybody else. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, favoring the strength of the dollar. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, like I say, I think if the dollar going to be strong, we already see peak gold. So it's no question whether this gold thing's going to hold up. It's clearly holding up. It's going to hold up
Oh
because
yeah, it's definitely gonna hold up. You got to think about it, man, because at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve prints $548 million a day, and that's not gonna stop. You understand? Regardless if there's tariffs, no tariffs. So what that does is also it keeps the cash flowing. As long as they print money, inflation's gonna happen. But as long as inflation's happening and the U.S. dollar is strong and still in circulation, you know what I'm saying? Then I mean, gold is still is going to help you hedge against that inflation.
oh yes, oh yeah. And now here we go. Gold as a savings, not as an investment, is for sure a hedge. How? It's actually it's one of the most slickest hedges of liquid capital,
Exactly.
and it's a tangible asset. It literally could turn into a paper form in 2 minutes just by you trading it. And
Yeah.
it still has an appreciation factor that goes against what you can trade into. Beautiful asset class. Very
Exactly.
slick old school class of asset. You know, of course people may say it's an investment. Um
So exactly. So it's like what people say hedge against inflation is basically keeping your dollar value, the strength of your dollar. So basically, just say if you had $100,000 and inflation was what 4%, and you just had $100,000 in your mattress or in the shoebox, then you lost 4%. Versus gold is going to your 100,000 is going to be able to maintain have that same buying power a year later. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we quote unquote hedge against inflation.
to lose those basis points, you think about that. That's not even doing anything with the money. It's just
Exactly.
sitting there and it's losing value. So we're not arguing against that point. Some Americans or people may say, but it's still losing inflation. But what happens when you have a diverse portfolio?
Yep.
So what happens when you do say, I actually have savings and it's not in dollars, and it's in a non paper traded asset class. You can have gold in paper or you can have gold in, once again, hard tangible asset class. Hard tangible. So very movable, it's mobile. Um, it's just an
Yep.
interesting asset class, man. What are your thoughts on using gold internationally? When you traveled abroad, have you used any gold? Have you cashed any in? We're not to look to pry into the private affairs, but we're looking to just see what's the international relationship and just how to move with it internationally. People, in the public want to know if they just happen to cop a piece of gold. Would you tell them to claim it through customs, legally or not? We're not saying legal or not, but you know what I mean. Like, would you just walk through and keep it moving, if you know what I mean?
My thing is, it all depends on what type of form of gold you get. Like I bought some gold overseas, but it wasn't enough to have to declare through customs. You know what I mean? It's not like a gold ring or something like that. But purchasing gold internationally could be tricky, and there's a lot of red tape. Me, I stick within the U.S. It's safer. It's more guaranteed because there's a lot of scam artists. There's a lot of tricks. You know what I'm saying when it comes to gold because of the value of it. And people pay attention to who's buying it. So people try to. I'd have been scammed once or twice in my day. You know what I'm saying? So I
Okay.
don't really tend to go to the international. It sounds good. If it sounds too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. So
All right, so the goal. Let's talk about the purity for the newcomers.
yes.
This is also going into the quality of the investment. So could you talk about, a lot of people really don't know, and I want you to throw out there, that's the difference maker between America. So when people even try to, go in on American dollars, which that mints the gold. I mean, come on now, the paper security, something's got to mint the gold outside of the people. They got a financial insurance policy on that too. But let's stick to this conversation about the purity and not scamming, but just purity internationally, things like that.
Okay. So when it comes to the purity of gold, you have 10 karat gold, you have 14 karat gold, you have 18 karat gold, you have 22 karat gold, and you have the purity of 24 karat gold. Um, Let me see. The the purity basis is based on the percentage of what the gold has in it. And what we're going to, I'm gonna see. So 10%, 10 karat gold is 42% purity. 14 karat gold is 58% purity. 18 karat gold is 75% pure. And 22% gold, 22 karat gold is 92% pure. 23 karat is 96% pure. And 24 karat is 99.999% pure.
How many grams are in an ounce?
There's grams in an ounce.
Is it like 33 or three? Is it like 30
32
something,
is
something like that?
32. Uh,
I may
I
be
think
wrong, and I don't want to go there. But I want you to break down as well, even the denominations that you can get in the gold.
so. You can get it in grams. So it's 1,000 grams in a kilo per kilogram, and then you can get it in ounce. You can get it in a fourth of an ounce. You can get it in 2 grams, 5 grams, 10 grams. If you don't want to purchase a full ounce or you don't want to purchase a full bar, there's let's see, there's what 32.15 ounces in a kilo bar gold in 1,000 grams. So yeah,
It's funny, man. When you hang in certain circles, you know, this is a very, very powerful way of transacting business. This is a divine, heavenly way of transacting business. And some people argue against the fact that the culture and the society has turned to paper, which is dead money. I asked someone that earlier, what's living money? They said it's the precious metals. We're like, right, it is a living currency. It's a living thing. And sure, people can say paper comes from wood or whatever, but a tree or whatever. But gold, you see, they value that more than the paper though. So the gold has a lot of value, and to hear that you say that the purity is based off of even how big it is, or the like you say the quality of the carats, very very much so appreciate you dropping those jewels on us because that goes into the purity, that goes
yeah,
into the size. A lot of
yeah,
people say, "Oh man, I gotta spend three." Like you say, they're gonna be Bitcoined out here soon, quote unquote. They're gonna have to jump in at the lower denominations. They didn't
yeah,
get in at 1,000. They didn't get in at 2,500. Now,
yeah,
and you think that's expensive, right, Jerome? We sitting over
exactly.
here saying $2,500 gold, $2,800 gold is still cheap. It is cheaper than a pair of Jordans type stuff on the black market. And they want to sit over here and debate whether this is an asset class should you be putting your life savings or your family estate in. Interesting.
Listen, you can still get gold at maybe $91 per gram.
That's
You
a
know?
steal. Would you agree?
Oh yes.
That's a
It's
steely steal. That 1 gram could go to 1,000. That's crazy.
listen. You keep exactly. You could snowball it and build it up to what we call a kilo bar. You know what I'm saying? Or per ounce. You know?
Okay, let's talk about that. The smelting, whether we call it that, this is the uneducated, quote unquote, when it comes to what the term might be. So when it comes to, let's just say I got all of these gold coins, we talk about the grams, but I want to melt it into a bar so I can just free up some space and make it easier to carry. What does that look like? Is that advised? Do I lose any? Do I lose any of the gold when I burn the gold to do that? Or like, could you talk about that?
Yeah. So basically, that's what it comes with as far as the purity. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you have a whole bunch of gold chains that's 10 karat gold, that means it's mixed. So you got 42% pure. So the other percentage um, is other alloys that makes it firm. But if then then you extract that 42%, and whatever that weight is how much gold you have available. Versus if you smelt you know, you get what 1,000 grams of 24 karat gold or nuggets or bars and put it into one, then it's gonna hold its value. You're not gonna lose any gold. You understand what I'm saying?
Got you.
And so based on the purity, it's gonna determine how much alloys it has in it. That's gonna have to be extracted. That's gonna take away from the weight of to make that whole carat a pure carat. Understand what I'm saying? So,
Oh yeah.
and another ad is the spot price is the market price, which is based off a 24 karat gold ounce.
Thanks for letting us know that. That's major. So they're actually the standard internationally is 24.
Yes.
Okay, great to know. Thank you. All the listeners, you got that, Jim. And that's what happens when you hang around people like Jerome, man. You guys really get a chance to get that alternative savings conversation, not an alternative investment, something where you can lose your money. You know, we were talking to someone about that with this whole Bitcoin fiasco, and we talk about how we're not knocking the Bitcoin. Sure, it goes up. It only has one way to go up. That's the same thing with gold. Gold has nowhere but to go up. Huh? Did y'all hear that? Oh, I went to school for economics, Trust Christian in the Vault, and I found out that this is scarcity asset, and the value's going up, and I don't know if I should grab it.
You
I'm
just
gonna go
answered
grab these
the question.
Jordans though, man. You know the Jordans. And we not knocking those because those are gonna be a Barbie doll kin asset as well. But now it's not liquid cash. You know, sure you could take it. It's not that money that you know when you move into another country or other jurisdictions or in general, you know it's liquid cash. Those shoes or other assets that you have, they are not as liquid as the gold.
You got to
So
think about it, man. If you fill up a shoe box, you want to only one pair of shoes can fit in a box. Imagine how many 1 ounce gold bars or even kilo bars could fit in a shoe box. You tell me which one you want, and which one's easier to actually move around and transfer. You know, if you move from place to place.
I got a good question for you. So what if I melt the gold down, right? So, like you say, now I'm gonna do a pure one. It's not gonna have any taint because I melted all of that out, smelted it out, whatever. Do you have a piece like that? I'm not trying to get personal, but or private, but would you say that's not even worth it, or would you say oh, that's a great idea as well? It's a great thing. You won't go wrong doing it. What's your thoughts?
If you got gold and you melt it down to a solid piece, I mean, that's what you think. That's what the jewelers do when he said we buy gold here and you pawn your gold. You know what I'm saying? They smelt it and they extracted all the other alloys out of it, like I said once before. You know what I mean? Like as long as your purity of the gold that you're trying to combine together is you know what I'm saying a 24 karat, or if it's not and you don't lose weight, then why not? I mean, I don't own any smelted pieces, you know, because I know the value. I mean, I hold 24 karat pieces, and I have gold bars, which is IRA approved. You know what I'm saying? So you can actually put it in your retirement.
How do you save paper money instead of saving the gold equivalent? Does
You
that
said
make any sense?
you said how do you save paper money?
No, yeah, it's like okay, when you say to somebody, they say, "Oh, trust Christian and Jerome." I'm gonna go ahead and put my money in the 401k, the IRA. We're not against it. We're just talking about it,
Yeah,
and we say, okay, but with the money that you put in is always gonna be a paper currency traded.
and
Whereas
then you
if
got
you
to
take the
then you got to
paper you have
yeah,
and purchase a gold equivalent, whether it's the paper stock or actual gold, like you say, and it can be held in that vehicle.
yeah.
How does that? Why is that not promoted by these guys? Because they don't think it's sexy. They want to put your money at risk. If you put your money in an IRA, it's not. We say gold has grown through the last 3 to 4 years, but it may not be Bitcoin. It may not be Tesla. It may not be Nvidia. Okay, but we also know that hey, we sat here and had to go ahead and bust down. Last time we checked, people got in on Bitcoin. The last dip. was worse than the previous dip. We're
You
talking about
know,
the major resets, because all the markets got resets. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, okay, oh, I'm gonna go on a tear and a run for the next 3 to 4 years with Bitcoin. But then what happens with the reset? And then once again, when we said the next 3 to 4 years for gold, we didn't say no reset. And what little bit of reset we thinking, it ain't gonna be a reset, because what we know for the confidence that we have for the asset class, we are very, very confident. Uh, we know it's gonna hit 3,000 this year. And
yeah,
we know or have confidence that it's going to be over 4,000 next year. And that's not even 27 yet. That's 26.
yeah.
So when we get to 28, we could see 45. At 28, we could see 5. Oh no, why would it do that? Did you see the numbers that it did in the past year? And then you trying to make an argument for Bitcoin over here, saying that Bitcoin's gonna go on the run. If Bitcoin's gonna go on the run, which is a hedge currency as well, didn't they say it was digital gold? They said it was digital gold.
And digital gold, but that's the thing too, though. As far as purchasing a Bitcoin, it has no tangible. It's not tangible. It's just digital. Gold you can purchase digitally and have the physical form. You know,
Think about how great that is.
exactly.
What are we talking about? It's that as it's this. Oh man, Trust Christian, you gonna sit here and talk about this tonight? We might as well take away time from Trust. Might as well sit and talk about something that. Oh man, y'all ain't talking about Muhammad Ali. Oh yes, we are. Shout out Muhammad Ali.
Shout out Muhammad Ali.
That's gold. That's the gold standard.
And then I read a book. It was by Jim Richards, and his predictions, gold is going to get up to $10,000 an ounce.
Yeah,
Imagine $10,000 an ounce. It's very doable.
in our
It's
lifetime,
it's
for
it's,
sure.
it's on track. You know how
But
much more?
you think about that now. Somebody could make an argument of how it is. How does that mean anything, or what value does that mean? It's like, all right, well, first of all, we're talking about a small ounce of gold, which if you actually drop it on the ground, it can lose value.
Exactly. I did that before.
So, so just to give you all the heads, all right, talk about that, Jerome. Let's go ahead and educate the audience some more. So, ladies and gentlemen, you do, and we learned this one the hard way too. So, you do want to keep it protected because scars, scratches, and otherwise can possibly debase it. Could you share about that, Jerome, as well?
Yes, I had what 160. I had 160,000 dollars worth of 24 karat Canadian maples, and I had them on the kitchen table. One of them hit the floor, and it is gold is soft, and it hit the floor, and it dented the gold. So that when I took it to get it appraised and to sell it, I lost a couple of $100 because of that one coin that had that imperfection in it.
Wow. And somebody said I'm still not gonna buy it, even though if I drop it, it could lose value. Give
No,
me
they
a
bought
break.
no, they bought it, but they didn't buy that one at the going rate is what we locked in.
Oh yeah, for sure. We were just talking about the common man. If the common man says, "Hey, why would I buy something that if I drop it, it could immediately lose value, but it's
It's
supposed to
that
be valuable"?
you protect your assets, right?
Exactly. There we go.
Exactly. You have little casings where you can hold 10 ounces at a time, right?
Hmm.
And one time let's imagine, when I first started, I had 120,000. I had 100 ounces of gold that was worth 120,000. And you multiply those 120 by what 2,800. How much money is that? I don't have a calculator right there now. I can't do the math,
Nah,
but
you know what time it is. We know what time it is.
yeah. So you know,
It's interesting, when people talk about protecting their assets, and we're talking about gold, and whether it's a hedge or it's a protection. You got to protect the gold. Okay, here we go. So we get this question a lot at the vault, especially people listen to the episodes. Then they come back in consultations. They'll ask us, "Where do you store the gold? What are your thoughts on storing gold? Do just overall? We want to hear your thoughts, the audience."
so storing gold. there's multiple ways in order to store it. Uh, Depending on how much you have, you can have your own safe in your home. You have some people who have custodians that have a an account and a depository, and if you decide you want to take it out, you can do that as well, or in a physical IRA depository. So it's all about what you feel is safest. I think some people they put them in a safe box in banks, but those are only insured up to so much. You know, Me personally, I would like to keep it as close as possible. You know, um, I say, hey, purchase your safe, have it discreetly somewhere in your home, and just stockpile.
This is an interesting perspective. Definitely appreciate your perspective on it when we talk about it. Where do you store it? One thing we would say is, our mentors definitely said the same thing. They told us a few brands of safes to get. You got a few different safes. They may not even only be at your residence. They may be at a trusted somebody else that you trust, and you know the code, and they don't. And it's just they have it at their place. Once again, whether you talk about custodians and various different institutional holders of it, definitely, it's just the philosophy of having a diverse portfolio. You don't want to have it quote unquote all in one place, but definitely having it close to you, you're going to feel a lot more sense of comfort and security knowing you got $1 million in gold sitting in your basement, and when it hits the fan, you're in the basement with your gold, looking at the cameras. You know, it's a different type of security and safety when you're sitting down there and World War III's going on, and you sitting down there with your safe, and when the smoke clears, you'll be ready to go back and open up shop.
Yep.
You know, and it is a trading currency probably in war times more than anything else. And it's interesting because this is probably one of those moments where it's going to be probably one of the cheapest times to get it, if we would like to think that. And it's challenging for people sometimes maybe to hear that, because like, how, Sway, how? But you got to be aware that the campaign that's in office,
Oh my God.
they're a
Listen.
gold bug. So
So
why would
exactly.
it not go up? They're gold bugs. These are old monies.
Let me ask you something, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned something about World War III.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that in this time we're going to see a World War III?
With this guy in office, I don't think so. That'll be a bad look on his family. That's, I mean, you think about the past 8 years, he didn't have it on his watch. So if he has it on his watch, if anything breaks out, no, and I don't, like we say, we're not having a political conversation here. We're just on a commercial level. Um, Remember, okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We can People ask us what we looking into. We gonna go ahead and bust it down for the love of the people. People talk about, but we gonna go ahead and give y'all the love. Prison stocks, detention centers right now. Once
Mm.
again, we're in the era of weapons. Weapons for the border, defense. Those things are going to be heavily invested in. So to see anybody want to kind of cross that barrier, knowing he's already trying to fortify the barrier, or the administration's trying to fortify the barrier, they really got a big wall to jump over, pun intended or not. They better be ready to play, whoever's ready to play with America at this point, because the current administration's been shot at already. So who knows if they're on edge. We just hope that everybody plays fair right now over the next 4 years. And it's interesting because there's two ways to make somebody change. It's either out of fear or out of love. Well, when you put tariffs on people, is that love or fear? You know what I mean? So we already see the stance. But remember, this is a business friendly stance. This isn't a go to war stance. They're not. That's not. I don't think that's their agenda. We're not speaking for them. We're just saying, from a commercial perspective, if he gets out of there, this campaign gets out of there, and that's not on their watch, and they can pull out the strongest earnings in corporate American history outside of the 80s. That's what these guys are going for right now. These guys are going for glory and finance. not going for glory and slaughtering anything in international waters, which it almost makes every administration look bad. I mean, you're gonna enter into a war and lose the country money, quote unquote. So it won't make the country look good for them to go into a war, um, and that would drive inflation. Could we see any micro in what do they call it, insurgencies, or could we see any micro, you know, like America going to save Ukraine or something? I mean, we've already seen that. We've seen the contribution. If anything, it's like asking, do you think this guy's about to give more money to them or not? He's not the guy to just be giving money out to unless we get a return on investment. So it's a give and take with this administration. We don't really see it as that, but all things being equal, anything could be possible for sure. I just think that this we always hope for the best in this particular case too. And we don't think war actually is advantageous for this administration, knowing where the current the country's debt is at. This is a time where there is a heavy savings in America that should go back on. You should see a lot of Americans going into these asset classes of gold. You should see them going heavily invested into American businesses and domestic investment, infrastructure, companies that are doing construction, the so-called catching up to the so-called housing crisis in America of not having enough so-called houses, but they got to get mortgages. So we got to see interest rates go down. And that's like asking, well, do you think interest rates are going to go down? But to stay on your question of war, uh, the ones that are gonna peep their head, you know, thank you for letting us know that, Jay Better Jackson. We appreciate that for letting us know you can hear us well. The ones that could possibly go to war, remember, he just put a tax on him, and that basis is the same thing that you say is inflation for Americans. But the only difference is Americans are used to 3 and 4% inflation for the past few years. These other countries aren't used to that. They're just going to get hit temporarily for the next 3 to 4 years with a tax because they haven't been taxed at that level for the past 3 to 4 years. So they're either going to play along and shut up, or they are going to step outside the fold. But remember, they're being taxed on goods, and now they're going to step out the fold. And they got what they going? What are they going to go to war with the country that they're using their money?
I mean,
Exactly. So
everybody's gonna add a tariff on whatever we are importing for them. What from my understanding, like if Trump's putting a 20% tariff on their goods, on our goods, then they're gonna do the same, vice versa.
okay, great point. Great point. Okay, great point. So most Americans don't know, but most of they don't know, but at least you can do your research. At least 20 to 30% of the cars that come in America come through Mexico. So
Hmm.
for that reason alone, remember this that past administration got rid of NAFTA and they did a restructuring, and that came out swell. Americans are still buying cars, and if anything, you probably would say America's back on top because of Tesla, and that's a domestic automaker. So once again, that's like saying, well, do you want to see Teslas be made in Mexico? Probably not. But at the same time, a lot of cars are being shipped through and coming through that jurisdiction as far as influx of capital and just what we call tariff in that respect. So
Exactly.
those
So
other countries, sure, yeah, but then okay. Oh, do you want to play that way? Why they don't want to play that way?
yeah,
I don't
you
think
know,
they want to play that way.
it's crazy. I seen something that was funny. I mean, to me, Donald Trump has the MAGA, "Make America Great Again."
Hmm.
And then the Mexicans aren't going anywhere.
That was a joke, ladies and gentlemen. That was a joke,
Yeah, well,
and it's going to be interesting because they're not leaving the continent. They're going to go into a jurisdiction that's heavily auto manufacturing based and just manufacturing based. They're going to, when we say they, we're talking about anyone that's deported back into the Mexico jurisdiction. They'll deal with that situation internationally. But yeah, we don't really see who it could be. Like you say, it could. The only wars that's gonna go on at the vault from what we see in here is those proxy wars with the finance right now, and that's why it's important for individuals to stay tuned into the elite and see what the elite are doing in Davos and the conversations in Davos and where the World Bank and the IMF are looking to put capital internationally right now, if they're not going to put it in the States. And they are going to try to go to war with America, quote unquote, by trying to develop their economic base of manufacturing and compete. When this guy say, hey, let's get back to doing American investment for manufacturing. You know how many Americans are happy about that? You think Americans are upset that the administration is trying to promote manufacturing in the United States? What are we talking about? They're good, and this, hey, it's gonna happen like it did the last time. The Americans are gonna eat. They're gonna see, oh, we dealt with that 6% inflation. We dealt with that 4% inflation. Why? Because we had a job, quote unquote. We had a 4% increase in our income over the 2 year. Then maybe we had a 5% increase over the 5 year. But their dollar was still strong too as well. So there was some other things that were going on other than inflation eating their guts. But guess what? Americans don't have to think about inflation over the next 3 to 4 years. Why? Because Americans are looking to buy houses over the next 3 to 4 years. So
Yep.
how are they thinking about inflation? They're thinking about a mortgage interest rate.
Yep.
They thinking about a down payment that they didn't make over the past 4 years. Literally. How many Americans said, we're not going in because of the deposit alone? Well, you think they about to start buying houses again?
Yeah.
I think they are. That goes to gold because it's a hard, tangible asset. They use gold in houses. They use gold in manufacturing. They use silver in manufacturing. So we think it is an incredible time. And for someone that doesn't have a gold business, you're in the gold business when you're saving it. So just appreciate you, Jerome, man, big time for coming on, departing
Listen,
once again some education about the trust. Feel free to drop it like it's hot real quick.
you
Where
know,
they can
we
contact you, your thoughts on gold, your outlook, people just understanding the sentiment of what's the value, and everybody wants to know why, and then tell them how to reach out.
listen, goldenrepublic.co. We buy, sell, and trade gold, silver, platinum. Um, if you don't have some, like one of my slogans is Golden Republic, in gold we trust. You know, if you don't have some, get some. It doesn't even have to be for me, but now is the time to buy. And on my website, the best time to buy gold was yesterday. So, and you can reach me at jmccain at goldenrepublic.co or check out the website www.goldenrepublic.co. Um, and yeah,
Man, oh man. Sure, we're gonna have some customers come from the vault. Feel free to shout out the vault promo code the vault. Uh, and man, just appreciate you big time, Jerome. You know, it's ladies and gentlemen, we are in it. We're saying it to the world. It's gold in the streets. It ain't blood. It's
streets.
gold. It's liquid gold in the streets. If you're not walking out your house and you don't see gold in the streets every day, what you walking on a dirt road? Cause guess what? When we go to Dubai, baby, what you think the street made out of? The cement that they ain't redid in 20 years in America? Nah. It's gold in the streets.
Golden
It's
streets.
gold in the streets. And that means, what can you say, ladies and gentlemen? It's almost like you either think positive and everything that you want to go right is about to go right. Or everything that you think could go wrong, it's just gonna go wrong. Or a variant of that. But one thing we see, most of the tickers, if you're in solid asset classes, particularly gold, wow.
Yep. Secure your financial assets, man. They get in between 20 to 25% to at least diversify your portfolio. And whatever amount that you can get, you're going to be very happy with yourself for making that financial purchase and decision for you and your future.
Oh yeah. Somebody said they said the trust is like the hand in a glove, and gold is obviously the hand. Yeah, it packs that Muhammad Ali punch.
Yeah,
What do you,
facts.
what do you mean? Americans sometimes don't even understand the value. Internationally, you go internationally, they know they go get down on their knees. Oh man, gold.
This worldwide currency is money.
They
This is
value it. It's exciting time, man. Just we hope we conveyed that message to you all today. Not financial advice or legal advice, but when we having that everyday conversation of are you what are you doing? Hey, we talk about it. This is a behind the closed doors over at the vault, and hey, behind the vault,
I
inside
guess.
the vault, gold as
Yeah.
a savings, not
Listen,
as an investment.
J.P. Morgan said, "Gold is money. Everything else is credit." Think about it.
Exactly. But it's like, how do we say this? Remember, Americans now are stuck on credit. They're stuck on, and they're okay with credit, and that's why gold is in the position that it's in. And it's interesting because that means that it's undervalued. That's all it means. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that it's not valued. It's undervalued,
Yeah,
and we're okay with saying that in the public. We had
yeah.
someone come to us recently. I got $10,000. What do you think I should do with it? Well, clearly we don't want you to put it in the stock market and lose it. I was like, a few pieces of gold won't hurt you.
Nope. It just really. So that's what people think. They think that they're buying gold. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't buy gold. You know, gold is more of an investment. Like you're transferring your money into actual currency. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the mindset and that's a hurdle that a lot of people have to, a mental hurdle that a lot of people have to get over. The fact that they feel like they're buying gold and they feel like they're losing money. You feel like you're making a purchase. They have buyer's remorse. No, you just made one of the best decisions you could in your life.
Thank you, Jerome. I guess it's just because you talking real calmly about it and you not excited. You a little wired over here, man. But it's like, come on, like that was such a critical point, and I think about that in the respect of you only really kind of if you like you say on the side if you don't have it, it's like a hurdle. But when you trade back out of it, you truly know it was a trade
Yes.
and you're not buying it when you take dollars into it. So it should be an easy transfer or exchange. But it sounds like a goddamn. This is worse than a hurdle. It's that one where the pole vote. It's a pole vote, man. And you know most people ain't gonna never pole vote. It's a pole vote. How they gonna pole vote over that mental hurdle? Because they think they're buying gold. The whole market's food. That's why we say it's undervalued. So thank you for dropping that major gem on us before we get off. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate everybody for listening live. Christian at trustchristian.com. Feel free to reach out. We're gonna be posting the flyer. We're gonna be doing how to what is that? How to deal with the insurance inside of trust. We got our mentors coming forth. We're gonna go ahead and do a webinar for that. It's gonna be free for existing trustees, $350 for people that have never been involved. We're gonna do a consultation with that as well. So feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Y'all want to grab some gold, goldenrepublic.co. Feel free to reach out to Jerome, educator as well, to reach out as well. So you think about that. You're not gonna go quote unquote purchase or trade out of something and not be educated. You are going to be educated moving forward. So always excited to provide that. Appreciate you, Jerome, for coming on. Look forward to having you on some more this year. Look forward to having you on when it hits. Where is it at today right now?
Last time I checked, it was at 28, like 73. At almost
28. Okay.
29. It's gonna reach 3,000 probably within the next 2 weeks.
Oh wow, this guy said 2 weeks. We were thinking of pushing you out a month or two. Okay, so we're gonna say let it get to okay. God dang, man, we thinking 3,000 by summer or something. You talk about it's gonna be a hot summer. Um, yeah, man, 3,000 is a great point to come back on and say, hey, this is where we seen it just ride from, and then as well 3,500 and 4K. We just need to have the 500 hurdle because we can see the velocity of money, and then you all can measure that against your inflation when you're talking out here. So Look forward to having you back on at 3K for gold here. That means it just went up 100 and something dollars. So when you're talking about that, think about the increase just on the lower levels of buying it in the gram. We look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com, goldenrepublic.co. Look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you, Jerome, again. Peace and joy.
All right.